Next, we honor and salute the courageous leadership of Congresswoman Cori A. Bush, Democrat, Missouri. She is an outspoken leader for civil rights, women's rights, and human rights. She recently spent nights and slept on the steps of the United States Capitol building to protest the cutting off of the moratorium for renters across the nation for millions of Americans trying to recover from the impact of the pandemic. We have witnessed her passion for Black Lives Matter in St. Louis and in the halls of the Congress.
This is the home where I grew up. As a child, my dad, he made sure that I knew that I was loved. He made sure that I knew that I was accepted just the way that I am. And he made sure that I understood that my Black life mattered. My dad's heart was to touch each person. My heart is to see change for our community on such a big scale. My heart is to help other people to not feel that pain that I felt within all of the things that I've gone through. I don't want anybody else to end up in any of those situations if I can help it. I just got to see change for our people so that our lives are better. And I don't mind getting in the dirt to do it.
During the Ferguson movement, during the Ferguson uprising, we didn't hit the streets thinking that, oh, this protest is happening, so let me put on my organizer hat. Let me put on my organizer hat and let me come out and look special and try to get a name for myself. Like, that's not what we were doing. We didn't have that thought. What we didn't know was that we were about to make history. We didn't go out. We didn't set out to make history. We didn't try to make history. We didn't try to make a name for ourselves. We wanted justice for Black and brown people. We wanted justice for this 18-year-old baby that was murdered. So we were fighting for someone we didn't know. And people say, if I was born back in such and such time, I would have done this. Well, let me say this. When you're in a history-making moment, you don't know that you're in a history-making moment. So let me say, we didn't know we were making history. We didn't know we would touch the entire world, regular, everyday folks like us. We didn't know. So let me say this. All of you sitting here under the sound of my voice, we are making history right now. This is a history-making moment.
You said yesterday you spoke to President Trump about some of the violent crime going on across the state and what happened to the couple in St. Louis.
We've been in contact with President, the Vice President, the White House when it comes to violent crime in our state for weeks now.
We are dealing behind the scenes. We're saying you better get going.
Governor Parsons, you were not there. You're never there. I've never seen you there. You've never been at a protest to stand up for us, and it shows. You're not working and fighting and advocating for all people, especially people that look like me. And as far as our congressperson, it's the exact same thing. Never there, never present. We can't be afraid to engage the people that have to vote for us, the people that we're supposed to be serving. The regular folks like us, you don't want to talk to, but we're the ones that you need to talk to. But it's okay. There is somebody ready to come up and take the work from you. There is somebody that is primed and ready, somebody that has been on the ground with the community, somebody that has been doing the work, somebody that understands what it's like to have your face on the ground bleeding, somebody that understands what it's like to not have health care, what it's like to not have a decent wage, somebody that understands that but still willing to step up and stand up to take care and fight for the community. That person is me. I'm that champion. We can also get rid of this failed leadership in August.
The National Newspaper Publishers Association, representing the Black press of America, proudly presents the 2021 National Leadership Award to the Honorable Cori A. Bush, United States Representative, Democrat, Missouri, for outstanding freedom-fighting leadership and for courageous, transformative vision and activism in the ongoing national and global struggle for freedom, justice, and equality. Washington, D.C., September the 16th, 2021.
from our fantastically produced leadership awards. Corey Bush was one of the recipients. You can still see it, the program in its entirety. Go to www.virtualnmpa2021.com. That was just a snippet. You got to see the program, folks. Go to www.virtualnmpa2021.com and click on the Leadership Awards. It was an amazing production. Congratulations to Norman Rich again, our news director and producer, for such a great production. And our chair, Karen Carter Richards, and of course, the president and CEO of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr. Great job. Vincent James Hernandez, better known by his stage name Picasso V, is an American musician, rapper, singer, songwriter, and record producer. As no stranger to the streets and the legal system, his story mirrors the message of hip-hop inner city roots. He was known as Vendetta, rapping with a vengeance, and upon completion of his prison sentence, he has said, "I am a changed man. I want to paint a picture with my music." Therefore, the new name, Picasso V. We will talk to Picasso V shortly, but first, let's bring on the president and CEO of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Stacey Brown. And on behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Karen Carter Richards, our distinguished chair of the NMPA, and all the 230 African-American-owned newspapers and media companies across the country, we greet everybody and thank you for showing that clip from our National Leadership Awards reception. Congresswoman Corey Bush certainly deserved the NNPA award, along with the other awardees. I think it was one of our best shows to date, and certainly all of our sponsors and supporters were very happy to witness our virtual 2021 Leadership Awards reception.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, go to www.virtualnmpa2021.com and check out the entire show. It was fantastic. I think everyone will enjoy it. Dr. Chavis, we go to the news headlines this morning. Johnson & Johnson said Tuesday a second shot of its COVID-19 vaccine, given about 2 months after the first, increased its effectiveness to 94% in the United States against moderate to severe forms of the disease. That compares to 70% protection with a single dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The data will help J&J make its case to the U.S. regulators for a booster shot, even as the company stresses the durability of its single-shot vaccine as a tool to ease the global pandemic. President Joe Biden is pushing for booster shots in the face of surging hospitalizations caused by the Delta variant. And J&J, the only drug maker with a single-shot COVID-19 vaccine approved in the United States, has been under pressure to produce evidence on the effectiveness of an additional dose. So we're seeing now, Dr. Chavis, more emphasis on a second J&J dose. You're on mute, Dr. Chavis. I'm sorry.
Thank you. All of the pharmaceutical companies, including Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and Moderna, all of them are really working hard to make sure that the American public and the worldwide is getting the right vaccine, are getting the right vaccines. So I think that this is another indication of the importance of vaccinations, the effectiveness of vaccinations. There was speculation about the Johnson vaccination at first, but now they've come back with more tests. That's why data is so important. Research is so important. And you heard yesterday about Pfizer now making an application for 5-year-olds to 11-year-olds. So all this is a part of science. Science progresses each year. Each test, each data group provides more details, and therefore, we have this pandemic is still very seriously. So there's still too many Americans, too many Black Americans, who are still not vaccinated, who are still not wearing masks, who are still not washing their hands, and unfortunately, who are still dying.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like you're in a construction zone, Dr. Chavis.
Well, no, I'm in downtown Washington, D.C. They're always working around the clock. That's what that thing is outside the building.
Yeah, absolutely. And friends, here's a bit of news mixed with commentary, if you will. The Black press of America continues to try and provide information to benefit everyone, perhaps life-saving information. With that, one major media publication today headlined one of its stories, "If I'm the only person wearing a mask in a store or other indoor location, am I really protected from infection?" Well, medical science and straight facts show that it's true that masks works best when everyone in the room is wearing one. That's because when an infected person wears a mask, a large percentage of their exhaled infectious particles are trapped, stopping viral spread at the source. And experts said when fewer viral particles are floating around the room, the mask, others who are wearing it would likely block those that have escaped. But medical experts say that there's also plenty of evidence showing that masks protect the wearer even when others around them are mask free. The amount of protection depends on the quality of the mask, of course, and how well it fits. One example provided was that during a hotel outbreak in Switzerland, several employees and a guest who tested positive for the COVID-19 were wearing only face shields with no mask. Those who wore masks were not infected. And a Tennessee study found that communities with mask mandates had lower hospitalization rates than areas where masks weren't required. So the bottom line, wear a mask. It could save your life and those around you. And I know, Dr. Chavis, that's been a big theme of the Black press of America.
Absolutely. We still have our coronavirus task force, and we encourage everybody to follow these directions from the Center for Disease Control.
Yeah, and that was that N95 mask is just to answer Bobby Henry's question. That N95 mask is supposed, according to all the experts, that's the best mask you could have. Also in the news this morning, Vice President Kamala Harris, and this is really disturbing, folks. And I know that many of our viewers found what happened at the border disturbing. And Vice President Kamala Harris and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer have added their voices to criticism of the treatment of Haitian immigrants at the U.S.-Mexico border who were corralled by U.S. Border Patrol agents riding horses and the pictures show it, they were wielding whips. And asked on Tuesday about footage of the incident, the vice president said, "What I saw depicted those individuals on horseback treating human beings the way they were was horrible." The vice president said she supported investigations of the matter and intended to speak to the Homeland Security Secretary. She says human beings should never be treated this way. And obviously, for many people of color, especially African Americans, what we saw at that border, and in that picture there, it's a stark reminder of the history of this country, what this country was built on, and that is the backs of slaves, African slaves to be specific. Dr. Chavis, that was really horrible. Those officers should be immediately fired, should be immediately charged. I don't see, investigate what?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's just like the video when the police officer was caught on video choking George Floyd to death. These police officers, these Border Patrol officers, caught on video brutalizing our Haitian brothers and sisters, our Haitian children being brutalized. And like they were having such a joy. They were having fun doing it. So they not only should be fired, but we need to change the United States border to make sure that nothing like this ever happens again.
Whips. I mean, come on. Who in the world? This is 2021, folks. And as our executive administrator, Claudette Perry, says, he says, look, Afghans and others are being welcome, but the Haitian population that has gone through so much devastation. You talk about a complete lack of compassion, going so much that you bring out whips and horseback. It just reminded me so much, Dr. Chavis, of watching Roots back in the mid 1970s.
Well, racism continues. And again, we just, the difference is it's caught on videotape. And I think that we need to make sure that the Biden-Harris administration now takes this opportunity to totally transform and change the Border Patrol. They need serious, this is not reform. These people need to be abolished and a new system needs to be put in place.
Yeah, absolutely. I 1000% agree with you about the new system. Vincent James Hernandez, better known by his stage name Picasso V, is an American musician, rapper, singer, songwriter, and record producer. And he's got a great story to tell us. Let's bring on the hip hop star Picasso V. What's going on this morning, Picasso?
How you doing? How you doing, sir?
Good morning, good brother. Thank you for joining the Black Press of America, Brother Picasso.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure.
And just so our viewers know, Picasso is taking time out this morning. He has a doctor's appointment, so he's out in the car. So he's with us, though. Anyway, he's holding it down, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So tell us, you got some new stuff coming out. Before we get into your history, I just want to get the new stuff out there right now. What's the new stuff? Tell our audience what they can expect from Picasso V.
Well, right now we're pushing a single called "Do My Thing." It's getting a lot of attention. It's doing a lot of numbers. So right now we're pushing that. I do have an EP called "Sacrificial Lamb" coming out between the beginning, middle of October. That EP will basically give you guys an insight on me. It's who I am, my life. So, you know what I'm saying? You guys are really going to know and find out who Picasso V is with that EP. But yeah, right now, Do My Thing is streaming on all platforms. The video is out on YouTube. And right now we're pushing that.
And, you know, you say who you are. Not long ago, you had a different name. It was Vendetta. Tell us about that and tell us why you changed that name.
Vendetta was just a wild person. He didn't really care about anything or anybody, including himself. Yeah, he was just like a ticking time bomb. And the reason why I switched to Picasso V is because when I did get incarcerated, I wound up doing 3 years in prison. And, you know, during those 3 years, I had time to sit down and think. And I just thought, like, man, if I'm going to come out a new person, I don't want to come out that same artist, too. So, you know what I'm saying? It took me a little while to think. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go with Picasso, but put a V, you know what I'm saying, at the end of it, you know, because just like Picasso, all his paintings were different. So, and that's similar to my music, you know what I'm saying, because each song has its own message and meaning. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to paint a picture with my music.
Yeah, you mentioned being a changed man when you were released from prison. Talk to us, what changed for you?
I mean, really all around, just, you know what I'm saying, my mental, you know what I'm saying, my spiritual, my physical, you know what I'm saying? I feel like you got to change as a whole 100%. You know what I'm saying? You just can't do anything half or 75%. So, you know what I'm saying? But it all started with my mental, you know what I'm saying? Because I had to get my mind right, you know what I'm saying? Because everything I was practicing in there, I just didn't want to do in there. And then, you know, when you come out 9 times out of 10, people don't practice what they were preaching in there. So I didn't want to be one of those people. If I said I was going to change for real, I wanted to see it all the way through. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of hip hop, someone who's been intricately involved just as much in hip hop as the civil rights movement, Dr. Ben Chavis. Dr. Chavis, I know this means a lot to you having Picasso on this morning with your background and your assistance with the hip hop community.
Well, yes, I want to salute Brother Picasso V for your transformation. Hip hop itself, as brother knows, is evolving, and you know, similar to what we did in the Wilmington 10, we didn't serve time; we made time serve the movement. And you certainly have used your unjust incarceration to make time serve you, and you come out not only better, but you're putting stuff out in the environment that helps change people and lift people up. So, best wishes to you in your career.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. It means a lot.
And Picasso, I understand that several of the big name superstars like Biggie and Tupac and Eminem and Nas were influences. Talk about that. How did they influence you, and what did you pull from them?
You know what I'm saying? I pulled a lot, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was their career or their actual personal life and the experiences that they went through, I kind of studied that and learned from that. So I'm like, okay, maybe, you know, this is what I can try. This is what not to try, you know, and, you know, just a lot, you know what I'm saying? From their styles to their cadency, to the wordplay, to the, you know what I'm saying, to the flow. Like I really broke down and dissected everybody I studied, you know what I'm saying, and those big time names.
Yeah. And I know that, you had situations in the past where people say, well, Picasso, you can't do this, you can't do that. How has that been a motivating factor for you in your music and your career?
That's definitely been a push for me. Because everywhere you go, you're always gonna have haters. Not everybody's gonna like you. But I feel like that's what keeps me going, and that's what makes me go. You know what I'm saying? Because you can get compliments all day. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, some people might be honest with you, and some might not be. So for me, it's that fuel and that fire for me, where somebody says you can't or you won't. So that just fuels me to prove them wrong.
Yeah, and we hear so many stories, Picasso, too, and I'm sure most have heard. They maybe have a brother or a sister or a cousin or a friend who probably spends a lot of time writing and saying they're gonna be a rapper, they're gonna be a hip hop star. But there's more to it than just being able to create a record, isn't it?
It is. It is. A lot of bull comes with the industry. I've been told by my manager and other people that have been in the game for a while, that have been mentoring me and helping me, man, this game is really cutthroat. And you got to have strong skin for this game. You know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to tell you no and bad mouth you, even people with money, even people that are high up. So you really got to have strong skin for this. And you know what I'm saying? You really got to believe in yourself.
And have you discussed with your management, perhaps you already do, but the value, the importance of owning your own material?
Oh, always. They've been telling me that since day one, since before things started kicking off more than what they were now. And that's a really big thing. So thank God I got a good team behind me and a good support system to where we made all that happen, to where you know what I'm saying, I will be owning my masters and owning all of my rights.
That's awesome. And I want to go back. I know when you talk about being incarcerated, it's probably not the best of things or the most fun thing to talk about. But during your time, I'm told that you've always been a writer. You've been writing since you was young. But how much writing did you get done in prison? And was there something in there that inspired you to take it to the next level, if you will?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know what I'm saying? Because at first I was looking at a lot of time. So just to be blessed with the 3 years that I got, and to be able to have a release date and not that far away was definitely a wake-up call, and it was a second chance. So it definitely inspired me and motivated me to definitely write in there, you know what I'm saying? Because it gave me hope. And that's what basically helped me through my bid. It was the hope that, listen, you got a second chance. Nothing can stop you now. This is all you. What are you going to do? So, you know what I'm saying? That really gave me the fire and the inspiration to be like, okay, I'm going to take this seriously and I'm going to show everybody who I am.
Yeah, and before we went live, I was mentioning to you too how we've heard, and you've heard, other aspiring rappers, if you will, or hip hop heads, if you will, talk about prison only enhances the street cred, but you have a different take on that. Talk about that, please.
Yeah, they say going to prison and doing all this is being gangster or getting street credit, and it's definitely not. And if you would have asked me that before I would have did all this, I would have told you, oh yeah, you definitely need that to get street cred. And you definitely don't, for one. And two, it's not even worth it. And you know what I'm saying? Take it from somebody that actually did it and I experienced it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, I would have told you a different answer. But going through something, you know what I'm saying, it really hits you different. So you don't need street cred for that to go to prison or nothing like that. That's totally wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's actually the total opposite. Because if anything, you're not only hurting yourself, but you're hurting the people around you. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, absolutely. And another thing too, the advent of social media and streaming services has enabled artists to reach their audience in a whole new way. How can our viewers connect with your music, Picasso?
I'm on all streaming platforms. You know what I'm saying? Just type in Picasso V. I'm on Instagram at Picasso V. I'm on Facebook at Picasso V. I got videos out on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You guys go check me out. Definitely lend me an ear. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And yeah.
And I want to go back just a minute because David Youngblood, he heard our discussion obviously about street credibility, prison and street cred. He says that's not what our kids are learning. How important as an artist, Picasso, to really be a role model to kids, because many kids, whether they are Black kids, Hispanic, or white kids, they look up to hip hop artists? How important is it to get that message across to children?
Definitely. And you know, I think it's crazy because we as artists or entertainers, or you know, I don't think we pay attention to that as much as how many kids and how many people are watching us and doing the things we do or saying the things we say. So I think sometimes we got to take mind to that. And you know, I'm not always good with that. I'm still working on that, but we definitely got to be a better role model to our kids growing up. You know what I'm saying? Because with all the crazy things happening today, we definitely don't want to teach our kids that, and we don't want them to teach their kids that.
Yeah. And Bobby Henry, who actually is a publisher of the West Side Gazette, he's down in your neck of the woods. He's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He says, have you did anything with your music, Picasso, to denounce prison, given that street cred?
No, not really. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, you know what I'm saying? The street cred for me, like, the whole prison thing is like, that's not where it's at. I have put it in my music that, you know what I'm saying, you really want to think about what you're doing before you think this is the cool thing to do, or doing this in the street is going to get you the respect. Because man, I swear they'll remember you for about a couple of days. After that, it's like you were never there. So, you know, so me, you know what I'm saying, I definitely say that all that street credit and all that gangster stuff is definitely won't work out at the end for you.
Yeah, it's fleeting, right? Very fleeting.
It is.
Yeah, Dr. Chavis?
Well, those are life lessons, and I think that Picasso is a great example of how you can take a negative experience and extract something positive. But I agree with him. We should avoid prisons. We should avoid jail. We should avoid any kind of negative interaction with the police. I mean, life is relatively short, so you don't want to spend your time having yourself being confined. You don't want to spend your time running from some wrongdoing that you may have done. You want to spend your time running to something that will make your life better, make the lives of your loved ones better, and your community better, and uplift your people. You know, Frederick Douglass said, freedom is a constant struggle. Well, that also means that you have to be constantly aware of your surroundings, constantly around the people you run with, and what is your goal. And you can change your goals. And certainly, Picasso, if you changed your goal, now you got a positive light, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a couple of quick notes to Picasso from our viewers. Again, David Youngblood says, let's be clear, I'm bebopping to the music, but upon reflecting on the words, my ears. He also mentioned that the culture preaches rebellion and contrariness. Rebellion, talk about that a little bit. The culture does indeed. I guess many can't disagree with David that the culture does preach rebellion. I want you to respond to that.
I mean, you know, everybody's gonna have their own opinion on that. You know what I'm saying? I try not to I try not to take things too personal, you know what I'm saying, when I'm making music, or you know what I'm saying, when I'm talking to somebody. So I think that a lot of artists now are preaching that rebellion. You know, like I said, you know what I'm saying, it's to each his own, because it depends what kind of situation you're in, you know what I'm saying, and what message you're trying to send.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we went live, Picasso, you talked about your involvement in sports and other activities. Can you share more about what changed those opportunities for you?
Back to what we were talking about 5 minutes ago, the gangster and the street cred. I thought that, you know, my thing, I was like, man, I got to get their respect doing this. And meanwhile, the whole time I had their respect doing what I was already doing. So for me, going out of my way, now I was trying too hard, but I was already blinded by the streets. So, you know what I'm saying, for me to miss an opportunity like that, you know what I'm saying, it sucks. But I guess that transition into me making music and going through what I went through in life to become the person I become, to be able to give my story and share my testimony. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to bring up again what Gregory Muhammad just wrote in. He says, prison life is no game. I witnessed many youth as well as myself find the reality that prison is a place to change. It gives you time to think. Thank you for your message, Picasso. He says, I served 34 years within the Pennsylvania prison system, starting at 19 years old for my first conviction. Wow. Gregory, we got to have Gregory on the show, Dr. Chavis. We got to get Gregory's story out more.
Big ups to you, Gregory, man. I'm glad you made it out, man.
Yeah. And David
absolutely.
Says, and David Youngblood says, I say to friends, our parents could not understand our music, and now it is our turn to allow them to reflect their youth. So David, I'm sorry, Dave. I said David. I'm reading David's comments. He says, "Wow!" But Picasso, what's next for Picasso? You talked about the EP. What else are you working on?
Right now, we're just pushing to do my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said with the EP, I do have a show coming up because I just did a showcase. We just found out that first placement was to open up for artist Asian Doll. So I winded up getting first place. So I think that's October 17th. So that's a big show coming up. But other than that, right now, our main focus is just pushing, do my thing, and getting the last little bit of pieces ready for the EP to drop in the middle of October.
And the show in October, where is that located?
I'm not sure. I'm still getting the details for that, but I do know it's somewhere around October 17th.
Fantastic. We'll look out for that. Dr. Chavis, your closing thoughts with Picasso V.
Thank you, brother Picasso V. We represent the Black press of America. We represent our culture. We represent our vision, our science. One thing about hip hop, it is diverse. It is not all gangster rap. Hip hop is as diverse as the communities in which the artists emerge from. But out of that diversity comes that creative genius. And we thank you for your words. We thank you for your expressions. And we thank you for continuing to push forward. That's the important thing. We learn from the past. We don't live in the past, and we don't stay in the past. And as we push forward, like the Black press and like hip hop culture, we keep on making sure we try to strive to do our best. Respect is something that you can't buy. Respect is something that you earn. But the best respect first is self-respect. God bless you and take care.
Same to you. Thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Our privilege. And again, check out the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Leadership Awards. You saw a clip at the beginning of this show with Congresswoman Cori Bush. Go to virtualnmpa2021.com. Michelle Madison, David Youngblood, Gregory Muhammad, Janine White, all of you, Nicole, go to virtualnmpa2021.com. You won't be disappointed. And also, if you didn't catch our great conversation with Gabrielle Union, it's there as well. Our great conversation with Regina Bell, it's there as well. virtualnmpa2021.com. And don't forget to check out the NNPA and the Black Press of America on TikTok at NNPA Black Press. Carrington York, that great Howard University student, she is fantastic. Check her out on TikTok for the Black Press. NNPA Black Press is our TikTok. Let it be known. Remember this: when you give joy to other people, you get more joy in return. Later this week, we are looking forward to some more hip hop with Stetsasonic. We're also looking forward to our show tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. Irene Gandy, we had her on before. She's a Broadway icon. She just won a Tony Award 2 weeks ago. We're going to have her on again. And the great Antonio Fargas is going to join us this week as well. Stay tuned and wear a mask, be safe, get vaccinated if possible, and we will see you tomorrow.